Did you know that there are currently over 36,000 pieces of space debris orbiting Earth, and that number is expected to grow? With Kessler Syndrome, we could face a real risk of satellites colliding and creating even more chaos in our skies. Kessler Syndrome is a phenomenon that occurs when the density of objects in low Earth orbit becomes so high that collisions between them start to produce even more debris, leading to a catastrophic chain reaction. This can ultimately render entire orbits unusable, and the implications are terrifying. A single collision could create a mess that's impossible to clean up, putting the entire satellite industry and our ability to explore space at risk. Expert opinions. According to Paul Lynham, an astronomer at the University of California's Lick Observatory,
it's important that people realize it's not going to be a remote, out there kind of thing. It would affect everybody on the planet. You have to understand that as we continue to launch more satellites into space, the likelihood of collisions increases exponentially. With over 5,000 active artificial satellites currently in orbit, the chances of a catastrophic event are higher than ever. The issue is that these satellites are moving at incredible speeds, sometimes up to 17,000 miles per hour, making even a small mistake or malfunction a recipe for disaster. The more satellites we launch, the more opportunities there are for things to go wrong.
Lynham emphasizes the widespread impact that Kessler Syndrome could have on our daily lives, affecting everything from GPS navigation to weather forecasting and telecommunications. John L. Crasidis, a professor of innovation and space debris expert at the University at Buffalo, warns,
"The Kessler Syndrome is going to come true. If you take, for example, the Iridium-Cosmos collision in 2009, it was a high-speed crash that generated over 1,000 pieces of debris, many of which are still in orbit today. Or the time when a Chinese satellite nearly collided with a Russian satellite in 2013, only narrowly avoiding disaster. The more we cram our skies with satellites, the more likely we are to see these kinds of near misses turn into full-blown collisions."
In recent years, we've seen several close calls and actual collisions that illustrate the dangers of Kessler Syndrome in action. Just last year, the European Space Agency had to perform an evasive maneuver to avoid a collision between one of its satellites and a piece of space junk. And in 2020, a OneWeb satellite narrowly avoided a catastrophic collision with a piece of debris from a Chinese rocket. These are just a few examples of how close we've come to disaster, and it's only a matter of time before our luck runs out. One of the most recent incidents that highlights the dangers of Kessler Syndrome is the near miss between two satellites owned by SpaceX and OneWeb. The two satellites came within 190 feet of each other, an incredibly close call that could have ended in disaster. Luckily, they avoided a collision, but it's a stark reminder of how precarious our satellite infrastructure really is. The economic impact of Kessler Syndrome could be profound and far-reaching. Here are some key points. Satellite damage and replacement costs. The cost of protecting satellites from space debris is already significant, with estimates suggesting that debris mitigation measures can account for 5 to 10% of total mission costs. If Kessler Syndrome were to occur, the costs of replacing damaged satellites and avoiding collisions would skyrocket into the billions of dollars. Loss of services. Many essential services, such as GPS navigation, weather forecasting, telecommunications, and internet services, rely on satellites. The loss or degradation of these services due to space debris could have severe economic consequences, affecting industries ranging from transportation to finance, estimated at greater than $3 trillion. Space exploration, future space missions, including those aimed at exploring other planets or establishing space stations, could be jeopardized by the increased risk of collisions and debris. This could delay or even cancel important scientific and commercial projects. The economic effects of Kessler Syndrome would be significant, affecting various sectors and requiring substantial investment to mitigate the risks. It's crucial to take proactive measures to manage space debris and ensure the sustainability of space activities. Thankfully, scientists and engineers are working on solutions to mitigate the risks of space debris and prevent future collisions. One proposal is to use advanced propulsion systems that would allow satellites to move quickly and avoid collisions. Another idea is to develop sophisticated sensors that can detect space junk and alert satellite operators to potential threats. Private companies like SpaceX and OneWeb are also working on designing satellites that can deorbit quickly and safely if they're no longer needed, reducing the risk of them becoming hazardous space junk. There are several initiatives to clean up space debris, and one notable example is the Elsa-D mission by Astroscale. Launched in March 2021, Elsa-D, End-of-Life Services by Astroscale Demonstration, is the world's first commercial mission aimed at demonstrating the ability to dock with and remove space debris from low Earth orbit. The mission involves a servicer satellite and a client satellite, which simulate a piece of orbital debris. The servicer satellite attempts to rendezvous, dock, and then release the client satellite, demonstrating the technology needed to capture and deorbit defunct satellites. Astroscale is also working on the Elsa-M mission, which aims to retrieve a OneWeb broadband satellite from low Earth orbit by 2026. This mission will further advance the technology and set industry norms for space debris management. As we look to the future of satellite technology, it's clear that addressing space debris is crucial. The risks of Kessler Syndrome are all too real, and if we don't take action, we could be facing a catastrophic scenario that's impossible to reverse. It's time for governments, companies, and individuals to take responsibility for our actions in space and work together to create a safer, more sustainable environment for our satellites. So, what do you think about Kessler Syndrome and the risks of space debris? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the latest developments in satellite and space technology, be sure to check out my other videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.